Reporting on the announcement of a new executive council by the Premier of Kwazulu Natal, Nomusa Dube-Ncube, who herself was sworn in the last 24 hours. She's tried to strike a balance of the old and the new. Among the people who've been appointed today is Nomusa Dube, the ANC chairperson in the province. He's been named as MEC for Economic Development. Sihle, the former Premier, has made an appearance on this new list of MECs. He's now in charge of the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs portfolio. Let's speak to the DA leader in Kwazulu Natal, Francois Rodgers, who's joining us now. Francois, very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Daytime Update. So, is this a solid team announced by the Premier today?
Good afternoon to Mikile and to your viewers. I must apologize. I'm holding my cell phone. Some technical challenges on my laptop. Yeah, look, the Taliban have spoken. One can clearly see, we were originally told that there'd be no purging. But if you look at 4 of the new appointments, clearly there has been some purging. And some sad purging, We've had some MECs who've worked darn hard. Jomo Sabia is one that comes to mind, who's no longer there, Kwazulu Natal. And if you look at some of the MECs that are still remaining, I think of KZN in social development, and I think of our MEC in agriculture, 2 really poor performing departments in the province. And of course they are
Rodgers. Francois, I'm going to give it one more bash. If you're able to hear me, just confirm for us. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. You were talking about MECs who are now left out, the likes of Kwazulu Natal, who was in charge of the education portfolio. He issued a statement, sent a letter, in fact, to staff saying the ANC had withdrawn him from the assignment of MEC. You say that's a loss. Are the replacements people who you have faith in as far as running those departments with the same level of competence and leadership?
Well, I'm afraid I don't. If one looks at Peggy Nkonyeni, for example, who's come into finance, you will recall that Peggy Nkonyeni was embroiled in an issue regarding the 3 amigos, of which she was one of the amigos, with fraudulent activities. That was mentioned in the Zondo Commission report. So that has not entirely disappeared. And you wonder why she was appointed. And then you've also got to look at the new appointment of Mahlaba as human settlements. We all know that there's a cloud over his head about an attempted assassination, which the charges were dropped because the witness was mysteriously killed. So, you've got to ask yourself, are these people really fit for purpose? Or is it just sort of payback time for the Taliban faction?
What about the inclusion in this new executive council of Sihle, the former premier? Not all opposition parties have been fans of his leadership as premier. Do you think he'll do better as MEC?
Well, that's an interesting move, and it's obviously a move by the new faction to try and stabilize the province by bringing Sihle in. There's obviously been a lot of unhappiness about, Sihle's demise, and I think that's trying to bring about stability. I'm not sure whether, in fact, he's going to be able to play a significant role because of, where he finds himself in the African National Congress in the province of Kwazulu Natal, not even being able to be elected onto the position of their PEC.
And what will be the DA's posture, I wonder, in approaching relationships with this new executive council? Are these people you will do or go out of your way to work with? I mean, for example, you've mentioned Mahlaba there, and there was a charge, as you say, but that case did not go ahead because it's now been pushed out of the system, essentially. Is that an MEC who you're willing to support and work with?
Well, look, at the end of the day, we'll work with any MEC that puts the people's interest first. We've proven that in the past. I've had good working relationships with many of the ANC MECs. But those particular MECs who find that they're in position for power and for nothing else, and, place the people's interests on the back burners, we certainly will continue to drive and expose their weaknesses and their inefficiencies.
And Nomusa Dube, the ANC KZN chairperson, is in the role now of Economic Development MEC. Some say He's being stationed there because it's preparation, should the ANC win control of KZN in the 2024 election, for him to become premier. Do you think that portfolio is where someone who, shall we say, as green when it comes to governance at this level should be occupying?
Look, that's an interesting comment you make. And if you look at the past history of who occupied that position, other than Ravi Pillay, and I think back to Mike Mabuyo-Kulu, I think to Sihle Zigalala, and I think to Nomusa Dube, it is almost the sort of stepping stone to take over the reins in the province. Whether Spaniso Duma, in fact, has the capability to turn around the economy, create jobs, and deal with social inequality, certainly his predecessors have come and fallen way short.
And what would it require, what would it take then for him to do well?
You know, I think most importantly here is that we need to build a provincial government that is capable of delivering services, that is focused on service delivery and job creation. And without that capable state, then whatever policy you put together is not going to work. And herein lies the next challenge, which is something that I will watch eagerly. Normally when we have the sort of purging and changing of power, exactly the same happens with senior officials in those departments. And that's a problem because, you know, if we're going to have senior officials working and then there's a change of leadership and a change of senior officials, obviously you're going to struggle to have any form of continuity and to build that particular capable and ethical state.
Thank you very much, Francois Rodgers, leader of the DA in KwaZulu Natal.